Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at a really interesting snapshot of global events
Okay.
from February 3rd, 2025. So just a few years into the future.
Wow.
You've got an episode of the Daily Global News podcast, and this gives us a fascinating look at what was making headlines that day.
Cool.
So let's just jump right into it, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
The first story, kind of a big one, trade tensions. Looks like even a few years from now, those haven't gone away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it looks like the U.S. imposed a 25% tariff on goods from Mexico and Canada.
Wow, a big shakeup.
Yeah.
So, this reminds me, we've seen these trade disputes in the past, but we've got to remember NAFTA here, right? The North American Free Trade Agreement. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
But it definitely had its critics, right? A lot of people argued that it led to job losses in the U.S. So this new tariff, even years later, could be seen as just a continuation of, those protectionist sentiments that we've been seeing.
Yeah. Makes you wonder what the long-term impact of this is going to be.
Yeah.
These are neighboring countries,
Right.
major economic partners.
Huge.
What if this escalates?
It really could.
What do you think?
Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo, I think her statement really sums it up.
Okay.
She said, coordination, yes. Subordination, no.
Ooh, yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah, she's basically saying, we're willing to work with the U.S.,
Uh-huh.
but not if it means giving up our own independence.
Right. Right. And for everyday people like us,
Absolutely.
a tariff like this means we're going to be paying more
Definitely.
for groceries, for cars.
Yeah.
It hits everybody's wallet.
Yeah, totally. And think about the businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Especially those that rely on trade between these countries.
Oh,
It
yeah.
could be devastating for them, really.
Yeah.
Supply chains disrupted, potential job losses. It really just shows how interconnected our economies are.
Right. Totally. Okay, well, let's move on to our next story here.
Okay.
This one's really tragic. A Black Hawk helicopter
Oh, no.
collided with an American Airlines passenger plane
Wow.
over Washington, D.C.
Oh, my gosh.
67 people died.
That's awful.
Just a horrible accident.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even with all the advancements,
Right.
there's still risks,
Right.
especially in such a busy airspace,
Totally.
like over a big city like D.C.
The podcast specifically mentioned the pilot of the Black Hawk, Captain Rebecca Lobach.
Yeah, she had been an aviation officer since 2019,
Wow.
dedicated to her service.
Her family's tribute was just heartbreaking.
I can't imagine.
They called her a bright star.
Uh,
And, when you look at the details of the collision,
Yeah.
a lot of questions come up.
I bet.
Investigators found that there was a 100-foot difference in altitude
Wow, really?
between the plane, which was flying at 325 feet, and the helicopter in 200.
That's significant, yeah.
Yeah, it really makes you think, right?
Yeah, it definitely suggests there could be issues with air traffic control.
Exactly. And especially when you consider that the plane made this unexplained pitch change
Oh.
just seconds before the impact.
Huh, it's like a puzzle,
Yeah,
just waiting to be solved.
absolutely. And that brings us to another headline from this episode.
Okay.
This one's directly related to air traffic control.
Really?
So a New York Times investigation
Okay.
revealed that there's this huge staffing shortage
Oh, wow.
at air traffic control facilities across the U.S.
So how bad are we talking?
Well, over 90% of them were operating below the recommended levels.
Oh, my goodness. So you think about that in the context of this collision?
Yeah.
That's a huge red flag.
Understaffing, yeah, could have definitely played a role in this.
Yeah, it makes you think about all the systemic issues
Right.
that might be contributing.
Exactly. And what does this mean for the future of air travel?
It's scary to think about, honestly.
Can technology help?
Well, maybe.
Hmm.
But will more automation lead to new risks?
We totally...
We just don't know.
A lot to think about.
Yeah.
So our last headline for today takes us to a different area.
Okay.
History and politics.
Hmm.
In 2025, Vladimir Putin, still the president of Russia,
Okay.
criticized Russia's exclusion from the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz.
Oh, wow.
This was in Poland.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting, right?
Tell me more.
Russia wasn't invited to this commemoration because of the war in Ukraine.
Right.
But Putin's argument is
Yeah.
that it's shameful to ignore the role that the Soviet Union played in liberating the Nazi death camps.
It's a competing narrative of history.
It is, and it raises some big questions.
Like what?
Who gets to tell the story of the past?
Yeah.
And how do political agendas influence the way we remember these events?
Yeah, the big one.
And this is something that's not just relevant to 2025.
Right.
It's happening now.
Absolutely. History's not set in stone.
No.
It's always being debated and reinterpreted.
It's constantly evolving.
Exactly.
Wow. So we've covered a lot today.
We have some pretty heavy stuff.
Trade wars, a devastating plane crash, the complexities of history and politics.
And all in just one day?
Just one day in February 2025.
It really shows how interconnected our world is.
Yeah,
You know, events in one place can affect everyone.
absolutely.
It's kind of mind-boggling when you think about it.
It makes you wonder what headlines will be saying about us in the future, right?
Oh, for sure.
How will our actions today shape the world?
Yeah,
That's something to ponder.
definitely something to think about.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.